Live from Orlando, Florida, you're listening to the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, the voice of Magic fans. Join us every week for a unique fan perspective on all of the latest Magic news and updates. The show starts now.
What's up, Magic fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Orlando Magic HQ podcast, brought to you by DraftKings and part of the Basketball Podcast Network. We're your hosts, Al, myself, Anthony. Today is Friday, February 24th, and we're recording this Thursday night post the Detroit Pistons game, which was it was a nail biter. It's a nail biter. It was a really good game. We're going to break that down in a few minutes. RJ Hampton getting waived. Admiral Schofield getting a full contract. So a lot of things to go over for this episode. But before we get into it, long break, bro. I feel like this was the longest week ever of not having any, Orlando Magic basketball going on. It was kind of refreshing because we got a chance to kind of relax a little bit. At the same time, man, it was definitely well missed. But we had All-Star Weekend, and I want to know your thoughts on All-Star Weekend. Slam dunk contest, 3-point contest, the awfully orchestrated skills challenge, the also awfully orchestrated NBA All-Star game. Man, what was your overall opinion on All-Star Weekend?
Yeah, it wasn't really what I expected, to be honest, man. I feel like for some reason, a lot of things just keep changing that shouldn't be changing. Like, you think about the skills challenge, like what was wrong with the old format where just individuals participated, for instance, or if it is teams, do it in a way that it's not as messy as this one was. I was not impressed one bit with the way they did that. Dunk contest, thank God for McClung, man. Thank God for that kid stepping up and really going in there with the mindset of, I want to win this. Because it wasn't really impressive either. I know the legends have talked about this at length when it comes to the dunk contest. Like, what will it take to bring it back? It truly just needs guys that really want to do it. And unfortunately, guys like Ja Morant, Zion, like they keep saying that they don't want to do it for whatever reason, whether it's fear of losing in a big stage, whatever it may be. It's unfortunate because we need stars to participate. But I wasn't impressed with All-Star Weekend, to be honest. And then, of course, the game itself. I barely watched it, but I saw the highlights and I saw the commentary the next day. And it was a layup line, man. Like, there was no effort whatsoever. There wasn't really any kind of intention to play defense or even make it fun to watch. It was just dudes bringing the ball up and jacking up threes or laying it up and going for dunks. So I know I sound like a Debbie Downer right now, but what about you? Like, is there anything negative you enjoyed?
I enjoyed the 3-point contest. Definitely by far what I like watching the most. Super happy for Damian Lillard to finally get one. It was cool that the sponsorship. I'm not sure if maybe they've done it before for other ones. I just can't remember. But what is the Sperry? What is the name of that soda?
I think Starry, yeah.
Sorry, something like that.
Yeah,
it looks like a Sprite knockoff, but
yeah.
The fact that they were willing to donate $300,000 if someone scored more than 30 points, and the only one to do that was a fake All-Star Tyrese Halliburton. I'm glad that that was at least done. That was definitely fun. But man, the NBA skills challenge was definitely whack. I wish that they would go back to the individual as well. Someone had made a comment about it saying, man, it would be nice if for the skills challenge we actually had players with skills. And kind of thinking about, man, the Antetokounmpo brothers in there, and it's kind of like you don't even got Giannis in there. You got the Thanos that is only on the team because of Giannis, and you got the younger brother that isn't even in the league. It's kind of like what are we doing here? Like the Utah team, I get it. You're in Utah. Got the rookie team. It's cool. I don't know, man. I wish go back to the individual. I like that a lot. Don't get complicated and with all the moving stuff that didn't even work. Just keep it to the basics, man. But yeah, definitely. I agree. Make it harder, but I don't know. I would say that what I did like from the skills challenge, I thought the passing The passing one was kind of cool. Again, if everything would work properly, then I guess it would have been all right. But I don't know, man. It's I was looking forward to the skills because of Paolo, and and I didn't like it. The celebrity game, I wasn't too fond of it either, but it had a crazy wild ending from what I've seen that's gone viral with the Miz and whatnot. But I don't know, All-Star Weekend was kind of wonky.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing about the skills challenge. It's okay if you do teams. I'm okay with that, but just don't rewrite the entire thing. Like I've missed the days of it just being, a bounce pass, a 3-pointer, whatever it was, going through the cones, and then a layup. And then if you have the 3 rookies do that, you time it. Let's say it's a minute and a half. Next team comes. Let's say it's 2 minutes, and you do it that way. But you don't have to add all these layers of like a shooting aspect and a passing aspect. It just became too confusing for me to follow the points, and it was weird. So yeah, go back to something simple. That's what I liked about the challenge before. It was that it was simple, and it was just a matter of, can you pass, can you shoot, can you make a layup, and that's it. That was as simple as it got. But yeah, they need guys that can definitely play, not just because Giannis is in the competition. His brothers get to go too. Like that shouldn't be the way.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool marketing on the Kumpo brothers. Like, cool. That's great. But nah. Like, yeah, Drew Holiday was in there, but no, I didn't like it. Now, when
it didn't help I was gonna say it didn't help that Giannis got hurt. If he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have been the one doing it. But the fact that he wasn't in it kind of threw everything off.
Yeah, it did. But I mean, so kind of talking about the slam dunk contest real quick. Man, like underwhelming, like super underwhelming, to the point where this is why people have the conversations. Reggie Miller was kind of talking about this, where he wished, or they've advocated for having the 3-point contest be the last event of the night and the slam dunk contest opening up for it. Just because, man, it's just not like great story for Mac McClung. I remember seeing his viral videos on House of Highlights and all that. Like, good for him. But my man is an NBA player, man. He's not. I haven't done any research. Has he played an NBA game before?
I think he's played 2. One for the Lakers and one for, I forgot the team. I want to say Houston. I don't know who it was. But 2 games. That's all he's played.
Okay. So has he played a game for the Sixers?
No, he just got called up like a week ago.
So he got called up specifically for the slam dunk contest. Like, it's a weird visual for me, right? Because you have Dr. J, handing him like the trophy, and it's Dr. J, a Sixers legend, passing him a trophy to another Sixers player that isn't really a Sixers player. I don't know, man. It was like great story. I thought his dunks were awesome and well deserved. Yeah. If there's one thing that we can kind of all agree on, is that the judging was definitely a lot better this time around, right? And I think that all the dunks that Mac did, he executed, bro. Like,
he did.
Not a second, a third try, not messing up, like none of that. So I thought that was cool. Kenyon Martin Jr., like you would think that he would practice these things with his dad to make sure that when it's time for showtime, that you're ready to go. He still seemed like he was trying to figure it out. But I don't know, man. The NBA definitely needs to do something about All-Star Weekend, because there was a report coming out that it was the All-Star game was watched less than the Pro Bowl, and everyone is complaining about the Pro Bowl because everyone's just going through the motions. And that game was terrible. I think I made it through maybe a quarter and a half, and I'm just like, I'm not watching this.
It was bad. I mean, and again, I didn't watch it, so I'm gonna apologize for not watching the game and adding this commentary. But did they do the Elam ending at the end, where you have to hit a certain number of points to win? Like, did they do that this year or no?
From my understanding, they did. I didn't make it that far.
So they just didn't care. Because in years past, that's what made it fun. It's like they actually were trying that in that last quarter, because charity donations, whatever it may be. But it seems like now they don't even care about that anymore. So that's my thing. Like,
but they did the first year when they came out with that rule. It was competitive, and everyone was saying, "Oh man, the All-Star game is back." People were really playing, and it's just not. It's not good. They gotta find a way. I saw some ideas online where they were talking about, well, maybe if they did like USA versus World, maybe that would kind of change things up. I saw another idea where, man, go back to Eastern Conference players on one team, Western Conference players on the other team, and whoever wins has an advantage in the playoffs, or excuse me,
Hmm.
in the finals.
Yep.
Something's got to happen. Someone else even said scratch the slam dunk contest completely, and let's do a one-on-one tournament, 3-on-3, something along those lines.
That's the thing.
The NBA, NBA is
Are they
definitely
gonna
gonna
play hard though? Because that's the thing. Like they don't want to play hard. Like dudes don't want to show up to dunk contest because they don't want to lose
they
in the
gotta
big
be they
stage.
gotta be incentivized, man. It's
That's
it's a nice gesture to say, okay, we're gonna donate to this charity fund. That's a very nice gesture, right? But it's not enough for these players, man. They need to get paid. Like there
so.
has to be some type of major incentive, in my opinion.
So Vince Carter said this recently in his podcast, and last thing we'll talk about this. I know we're going to talk about Magic basketball, but Vince Carter came out and said that there was a year, he didn't say what year, where him, T Mac, Kobe, and LeBron were approached, and they were told, winner gets $1 million for participating. And apparently, he didn't say who, what happened, but didn't get done. It wasn't enough of an incentive to participate. So if $1 million is not enough in your mind, what is going to be enough? What's a dollar amount that would be enough for this dude to participate?
Yeah, it's gotta. I don't know. It's gotta be more, man.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe what would be dope, and this is just something I randomly thought of right now. It'd be dope if they got the endorsements involved, like Team Jordan, Team Nike, Team Adidas, Team Liang, like whatever. Like get the endorsements involved, and I don't know, and find a way to incentivize it. I don't know, but something's got to change because people ain't liking it, man. And there was a point in time when we looked forward to the All-Star weekend,
For
like the
sure.
slam dunk contest. There's a moment where, like, especially when Aaron Gordon was in it, it was a moment where like it felt as if the whole world stopped for a moment, and Aaron Gordon was like representing the Orlando Magic, and he was what every single person was talking about. Everybody, and you talk about everything that came afterwards, from his endorsements to him going on, these TV shows and talk shows, and there was so much marketing afterwards, and I feel like that all kind of sizzled out, like the impacts, the effect. It's not the same. So I don't know, man. They got to do something, because right now it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
It's
Nobody
not.
likes it.
It's not.
Yeah. Anyways, man, let's talk Orlando Magic basketball. So long break, right? And we have how many games left?
23. Well, actually 22 after we talk about the Pistons game here.
Yep. So the Magic are really trying to make a push for this play-in. And this play-in is so important because it's meaningful basketball. So before our game today, when Wendell Carter Jr. was quoted, "It's all business. We're trying to get into the playoffs and change the narrative of the Orlando Magic." That's what we're all kind of locked in on, and we're all on the same page. So it's full blown playing, right? That's the fight. That's the purpose. Now it's great. We want to hear these things. That's awesome. Reality is, what else is he supposed to say? Right? He's not going to come out and say, we're going to do our best. That's not enough, right? So this was in my opinion, a crucial, important, must-win game, because one, you're at home. Two, is against the damn Pistons without Cade Cunningham. And three, if we're serious, this is a team that you're supposed to beat. And it wasn't pretty. It was not a pretty game, but the Magic were able to come out with this win, and it was an exciting game. You were there live in person. What was the environment like, and what'd you think of the game?
First things first, man. Big shout out to Magic fans. I tweeted this Thursday night, school night, against one of the worst teams in the NBA. And my first reaction was right before tip off, sold out arena. Almost every seat filled out IMY. And I'm like, oh God, like this is pretty cool to actually see this arena get to this level when we don't have the Lakers in town or the Warriors or the Celtics. It's a crappy Pistons team coming to town, and Magic fans are showing up and selling out the arena. By the way, the Pacers play here on Saturday, And I was trying to upgrade my seats to like a nicer seats. Saturday game, I wanted to upgrade my seats. Couldn't do it. They're all sold out. So again, fans are showing up. And to your point, these games matter. People want to see this team play hard and play for something. So that's number one. Number two, a rough game, man. Rough game. We wanted to just personally, I wanted an easy win. I wanted this team to go and win by 15, by 20, and just nice, relaxing win. Let's move on. Instead, it was a thrilling game. I think I read from Magic PR 24 lead changes in this game. The max this year has been 26. So a very competitive game throughout. In the third quarter, Markel took over, and I'm like, all right, here we go. We got this. We're going to pull off this win. The Pistons answered right back with a 17-2 run. And then it went down to the wire, man. We had a 3-point lead with seconds left. I kept saying to my wife sitting next to me, like, hey, just foul and play the free throw game. Instead, Jaden Ivey, who became Stephen Curry for some reason tonight, tied the game right with, I think it was 4 seconds left. And then thankfully, Banchero went to the hoop for a layup, missed it, but Wendell Carter saved the night with a huge putback dunk. Magic win 108-106. Thrilling game. It just should not have been that difficult, man. It should have been an easy win for us tonight, but I'll take it. What were your takes on it?
Yeah, I mean that Ivy 3-pointer was a little scary, man, because I felt as if they could have called a foul. And man, that would have put the Magic in a very bad situation. But I thought it was interesting that they decided to go to Paolo, right? Yep. Because Paolo's the type of player that if he takes it to the basket, even if he doesn't score, you at the very least feel comfortable and confident enough to where he'll be able to get to the free throw line. He's been struggling so much, man, so much that I don't know, man, especially because he had that little collapse with the shot clock just a couple plays before where the shot clock was running out and he just kind of threw whatever 360 and just threw it in the air. I haven't seen like the clutch moment from Paolo. He's a rookie, I get it, but the clutch moment from Paolo where he seals like a game winner type. We've seen this is kind of I shouldn't be comparing this, but in the summer league where he was kind of put in the same position, he kind of just passed the ball and gave it to somebody else. Like he didn't do it himself. So I had some concerns. Wendell post game with Dante, he said that one of the assistant coaches told him, like, hey, the ball's going to Paolo. He's driving into the rim. Make sure that you follow behind him just in case he misses. Thank God he did that because Wendell was able to get a nice and easy putback. And if Wendell didn't get it, Markel was right there too. It almost looked like it was three hands on the ball, but man, that it was a really good finish. Wendell Carter, man, was a monster on the glass today. 14 rebounds. Like this is what I'm talking about. It's a season high for him. We can't expect him to get 14, 15 rebounds every single game. But Wendell Carter played tough today. He played aggressive. He played like a big man. And this is what you want out of Wendell. He was super bandaged up. I don't know what's going on with the shoulder.
I know.
Man, you were gone for like a week. What the hell happened like in between that you got bandages like all over your body? You're a walking Band-Aid. But man, it was a really, really good turn for the better for us. And what's up with the refs? Like even taking a look at that play.
Dude, there were some questionable calls in that game. Just like every game with the Magic, it feels like
really, game winner. Like we're really doing this. And then when they showed the replay, even Vince Carter, man, he was like, "Yeah, nah, that's a bucket." Like there's
it wasn't even honestly, it wasn't even close.
You can't even argue it. Can't even argue it. And for a moment, it got scary because they were checking the replay for a minute. Like, what guys? What are we doing? Why we take? There's three of y'all. Three of y'all are seeing the exact same thing that everybody else is seeing. Why are we taking so long to call this game?
Yeah, and it was a clean look. If you look at the top view, easily you can see right there the ball was off the rim, easy bucket. Let's go home. But man, big shout out to Markel Fultz. I know the stats are not impressive like always with him, but 14 points, 8 assists, but plus 17 tonight. And if you watch this game, you can see why that was. This dude was playing hard, really acting like a point guard out there, finding shooters. When he needed to be aggressive, he was aggressive. I just wish he had that more often, man, like that aggressiveness, because when he is aggressive, we are such a better team. Franz, by the way, looked like he had his flex again.
Back.
he is back. He looked
Yep.
amazing. 21 points tonight, 5 rebounds. You mentioned Wendell already, but a big thing for me too, Gary Harris. I love what he did tonight. He was just simply, I'm open, I'm shooting it. I'm not thinking about it twice. I'm shooting it. He took 8 3-pointers, made 4, so 50%.
I'll take it.
That makes us, man, that makes us a much better team. You got to guard him now. All of a sudden, that opens up the game for Paulo, for Franz, and everyone else. And to your point, Paulo, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm getting annoyed of the bunnies. Like, he's missing these bunnies at the rim that I'm like, you're 6'10", 250, like, dunk the ball. I think he's going for the contact first and then the bucket.
He tried.
He did. I saw that
try. But even Vince Carter had said it, like, he has to stop like trying to go for the foul. He needs to like try to score the ball. And if you get fouled, you get fouled. But go in there, be confident, show your power and use it. And I feel like, man, eventually, like Paulo's the type of player, bro, is that if his shots aren't hitting, then he needs to find a way to then like get to the line and get your points that way. And then you get the flow and the confidence and you see the ball go on the rim. And then you have a better flow in the offense that way. And I feel like he's been struggling for a minute. And it's okay, man. He's a rookie. We know what he can bring. He showed it. Rookie of the year. No one's taking that away from him. But we can't continue. If we're serious, we can't continue to have Franz and Paulo have a bad game. Like, both of them cannot have. One of them can have a bad game. We can't have both of them. Someone's got to be, the lethal threat. And luckily it was Franz, man. And shout out to Jonathan Isaac too, man. Yes. Jonathan Isaac had a really, really solid performance. I think he played 16 minutes. 16. So we're seeing more of him playing, which I was a little concerned and surprised that he played 16 minutes, because I figured this whole entire break, I didn't know if that was going to kind of push him behind a little bit. And maybe they wanted to kind of reset and take it slow again. So it was good to see that they're going to be ramping up his minutes, because they even, pre-game, Mosley was talking about where they're going to start to kind of push the envelope a little bit. So that's good to see. But, he was great defensively. He was great from behind the arc, hit a couple for us. And man, it's awesome to see, because he's going to get more and more and more comfortable. When you're talking about this team, you're talking about a team that even now past halfway point of the season, we can still get better, man. And what a perfect time for that to happen.
Yeah, to your point, man. J.I. checked into the game, and he checked in, and right after he tipped the ball out of bounds, out of a Pistons player. 2 steals, 1 block, the little things that he does, again, similar to Markel. The stats may not look impressive, but if you watch the game with the eye of, hey, is he making winning plays? He definitely is. So it was good to see that he hit 16 minutes. I don't know what Mosley means by we're going to bump his minutes up here eventually. I hope it's 20 next, and then maybe hopefully 25. And I don't think he'll go higher than that for the rest of the season. But 20 is a perfect number for me, if you ask me. Like, backing up Paulo, backing up Wendell a little bit. That's the perfect number to me for the rest of the season. But really quickly, before we move on to the other topics, Ball. Talk to me about Ball, man. Like, I love the dude. I'm the biggest guy that's rooting for him. But on a night like tonight, wasn't really giving you much, right? No points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Chuma's healthy right now. Should the Magic kind of make it a little more competitive for him to get on the court? Or should we just kind of hand it? Like, right now, I feel like we're handing it to him. Like, hey, here you go. You're the backup. Do your thing. But I feel like there's no competition. I think he needs a little fire behind him to kind of say, hey, I got to play better, because way too often, man, we're seeing Ball just not show up at all. And then he'll have a nice 16 points, 8 rebound game. But what are your thoughts on Ball so far?
He's inconsistent. Like, and it's kind of like, he has moments where he can be the X factor. He has those moments where he can drop 10, 12, 15, 18 points off the bench. I do. So when you're comparing the two, like, defensively, like, what Chuma's able to bring, to where Bobo, he's been a little bit more of a liability. Even like his stats are a little misleading, because even all the blocks that he gets, it doesn't make up for the lack of defense that he does, right? The blocks look all nice and shiny, but it's not like he's getting 5, 6, 7 blocks a night. Um, I hope I want to see Chuma on the floor, and I think that eventually he'll find his way into the rotation. Because when it comes to like getting towards the end, if the Magic are really treading the right way, you're going to have to rely on the players that you trust. And if I can't trust, Bobo to be consistent, at least offensively, because we know that he's a liability on the defensive end, then I would rather put my chips in for Chuma. So I don't know, man. I don't I'm not happy that he was 0 for 4 from the line, 0 for 4 from field goal. I'm not happy that he played 16 minutes and really didn't do much at all. I thought this would have been a really, really good game to kind of really play Chuma a little bit more because it is against the Pistons. But we got to wait to see what they end up doing with him.
And one of the biggest things for me is also the fact that they're playing ball in the fourth quarter until like the 6 minute mark to bring back Paolo in the game. Those are 6 crucial minutes in the game. If you're like tonight in a game that's tight, you cannot have ball out there, not giving you much offensively. We know he's not giving you much defensively. He can't be out there in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry. He shouldn't be. You got to adjust the rotations a little bit so that he's there in the third quarter, not in the fourth. But yeah, that's on Mosley. That's not really on Ball, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. But overall, really, really good game, and it's on to the next one, man. We got to make sure that we're beating the teams that we're supposed to be, and we're competing. And the Magic got a shot, man. The Magic got a real shot. The players believe it. The coaches believe it. The front office believes it. And we got to end up seeing what we do. And I mean, let's be honest, man. We can't just win by 2 points against the Detroit Pistons. Like we need to. We can't just elevate our game or bring our game down to our competition. Like that's not the way that works. We need to get to a point where we're playing our game. It doesn't matter who we're playing against. You're getting that same level of play every single time, and hopefully we'll scratch this one off as a one-off because we have to get back into the rotations and playing NBA basketball after vacationing and being out and about and bring everyone back in and get back to it. But on that note, man, let's talk about these transactions that happened. RJ Hampton. So RJ Hampton getting waived by the Orlando Magic. It is said that once he clears the waivers, that he will be joining the Detroit Pistons. Kobe Price had reported today that RJ Hampton was present in today's game, sitting courtside and watching the game. But what are your thoughts on RJ? RJ is no longer a part of the Orlando Magic. Was it too soon? Is it the right move? We've talked about the Magic finally consolidating Mo Bamba, Terrence Ross, now RJ Hampton. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this, I think, the last 3-4 episodes, whether he was going to be traded or then he's going to get waived. We knew something was going to happen there simply because he wasn't playing. He wasn't seeing the court. He kept asking to go to Lakeland and get minutes that way. So I appreciate the fact that as a basketball player, he wanted to be on the court. He wanted to keep practicing and working on his game. It's unfortunate, man, because I know he was a guy that you personally liked a lot coming into the draft in 2020. When we drafted Cole, we would have been perfectly fine if RJ would have been the guy that we drafted instead. And then when we traded for him that first month, when we got him from Denver, he won Rookie of the Month. So like we had this hype initially with RJ Hampton, and then he didn't really progress much his second year. Third year, this year, seems like he was getting it. He was not forcing the game as much. He wasn't going as fast. Seems like he was getting it. But for some reason, something happened. Not sure what it was. He got out of the rotation, and for some reason, he became a guy that apparently was no longer part of the core. That's going to be with us going forward. Strange situation. It's unfortunate that we're not getting anything for him. It's another one of those things where we're doing right by the player. We're waiving him so he can go and get minutes somewhere. That's going to be with Detroit. But for those that care about assets and getting something back for players, it sucks, to lose Terrence Ross, to lose RJ Hampton and not get nothing back for them except doing them a favor. And hopefully the agent eventually will hook us up and pay us back in some sort of way. But RJ, man, best of luck to him. I don't know what to say because I don't have all the details, but I'm pretty sure something will come out in the future. Maybe he will say himself in his podcast or something. Something had to go down, man, because to go from being a guy that was contributing to that was part of what we were building to all of a sudden you're not wanted here. Like it's okay, you can leave. Kind of strange. What about you? What are your thoughts on him finally being gone and maybe what led up to it?
I'm happy for RJ. It's got to be a major pride killer for you to take a step back and say, okay, I'm not getting any PT with the team. Let me go play in this G League and go out to the G League and ball out. You know, we saw some good things from him this year. Obviously he's not perfect. He has his flaws. But let's be honest. There wasn't space. There wasn't room for him. So I get it. If I'm him, I would be just frustrated. I don't feel as if RJ Hampton's departure was the same as Mo Bamba's and Terrence Ross's. Obviously, he hasn't been with the team as long as Mo and Terrence, but was there any special goodbye from RJ Hampton, a thank you Orlando with a handwritten letter or a personal message? Was there anything like that?
He did post on his IG, I think yesterday, like a nice long message. But I mean,
Okay.
yeah, like a
Maybe
thank
I
you
missed
to the city, thank you to the players, the teammates, and things like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm happy that he has an opportunity elsewhere. I was a little surprised with the choice with Detroit. But you signed with them for the rest of the season, and if Detroit doesn't work out for him, then he'll be able to find something elsewhere. But I don't know, man. I get the whole perspective of we want to do right by the players. We're going to let them go and let them kind of pick their destination. But back in my mind, I'm just like, man, like Phoenix Suns, they competed, like they convinced Terrence Ross like last minute not to sign with Dallas. Like they hit him up and was like, yo, like we really want you here. This is where we see you. You mean to tell me we really couldn't squeeze out a second rounder for Terrence Ross?
I will tell you what I think what happens there is the salary situation. So as you know, the salary's got to match, right? So Terrence Ross was making $12 million, $11 million. We had to get back a player making $5-6 million at the very least to make that trade work. I don't know who Phoenix had that may be interesting to us, or most importantly, that the contract didn't extend past this season. Because as we know, the Magic are trying to keep a very clean book heading into next year. So I think that was the situation there. Maybe they tried to work something out with Dallas or Phoenix, but ultimately they're like, hey, we don't want to trade for X player who has 4 years left or 3 years left. Makes no sense for it. Makes no sense.
Yeah, but you're talking about for RJ, for Mo, for Terrence Ross. Like,
yeah,
we talked about consolidating. Like we all were on the same page. We talked about this. We knew that was the direction, but I guess I didn't. Be careful what you ask for. You asked for consolidating, and you got consolidating, but you got nothing in return.
Yeah, I think the ideal thing would have been like a multiplayer trade, right? Like Mo Bamba and Terrence Ross go to Phoenix for whoever. Not so much like Mo Bamba to the Lakers for a second round pick and a guy you're going to waive. Ross for a second round pick, and not even like nothing. RJ, nothing. So like it's weird. It's weird.
So it makes me almost feel like, damn, like we got a steal for Evan Fournier. We at least got something. We got something.
Yep.
The fact that we got nothing for these dudes is the part that I'm struggling with a little bit. I hope that it does go a long way and they do talk, but I'm just like, we're really never gonna know. Like, imagine, like, are we ever gonna get to a point where we get a press conference from picking up XYZ player and they're saying, I had a really good conversation with Terrence Ross and he told me great things, and the fact that they took care of him is my reason for coming over here. I get that it's more of a cultural thing, and that has a lot of weight and value, but it's just one of those things that aren't tangible. Like, we won't ever really know how much that does impact from our perspective, which I guess really doesn't matter, but it's just things that I'm personally struggling with.
Yeah, no, I hear you. What I'm hoping for is that the front office knows what they're doing. I tweeted this the other day. I'm like, hey, man, like we just got to at this point trust them. They got to have a plan in place. They know that they got money to spend. They know they got 2 lottery picks coming up. They know what they got going on. So maybe it's just one of those things where like, hey, RJ, we drafted Suggs after we acquired RJ Hampton. Unfortunately, that kind of put him to the side. We don't need him anymore. Makes sense. Mo Bamba, unfortunately, we gave him every chance in the book to work out and play for us. Didn't work out. So hey, man, instead of us forcing things here, go and have fun. With the idea of we have two young guys coming in, possibly in the draft this year, that we're gonna want them to be part of our culture going forward, or free agency. We have certain guys that the agent has told us they have some interest in coming to Orlando, so they're kind of prepping for that. Who knows? But I'm hoping that's the case. We're only 3-4 months away from the draft and free agency, so they got to know what they're doing. That's my only hope, because they have a foundation with Markel, Wendell, J.I., Franz, and Paulo. They know what they got. They're building something nice finally. But how do you fill out the rest of the roster? Hopefully with some shooting. Needs to happen, and you got to be smart about this, because like you said, we basically gave away 3 dudes for a second round pick. That makes no sense if you have no plan at the end of all this.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like in this NBA trade deadline, how many trades did we see that they were giving up 4 or 5 second round picks?
Oh yeah,
Like we can't sit around and just say, you know, they're not useful, because obviously it's things that these teams are asking for. Now with the departure of Terrence and Mo and RJ, you know, adjustments were made. The Magic did sign, you know, Goga. The Magic also converted, you know, Admiral Schofield's 2-way contract into a standard regular NBA contract. The Magic, the Magic still has, you know, one open roster spot. How surprised were you surprised with the Admiral move? You know, we pretty much expected that the Magic were going to convert one of their 2 ways. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't think it was going to be, you know, Kevon. So
same thing. I 100% expected that announcement to be Kevon Harris. Got, you know, converted from a 2-way to a full contract or standard contract. I guess I get it though. Schofield, you know, he's been here with the team longer. He has a little more size, a little better build. I guess my expectation would be that now we have an open spot available on the roster, that we sign Kevin Harris to that spot, and then we just find a way to get 2-way contracts for the rest of the season. But yeah, it's surprising, but I'm happy for Schofield, man. He's earned it. He's played hard for us. Been a good vet kind of presence, even though he's young. He's been a good kind of leader, a guy that defends our players on the court. So I'm happy for him. Just again, I expected Harris to get that spot, but either way it worked out. I think ultimately Harris will get RJ's roster spot here in the next few days.
yeah, for sure. And then just because we're just talking about Mo Bamba, there was Kobe Price reported this out. I'm not sure if you heard about the news that happened. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but there was some shootings that occurred out in Pine Hills, where a 9-year-old girl was killed, as well as one of the reporters for, who was it? One of the local reporters, I think it was Channel 13, I believe.
Spectrum News.
Yeah. So Mo Bamba actually donated to their GoFundMe to cover the funerals for both of them, which I think is pretty cool. And the fact that, you know, he still cares for the city enough to still, you know, impact the city in a good way, even though he's now playing for LA and the Lakers, something that he didn't have to do. So shout out to Mo Bamba.
Listen, the one thing with Mo Bamba I'll say is that the person was never the issue. I will say that. Mo Bamba, the human being, was an amazing dude. He will always be. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the future he finds his way back to the Magic, whether it's doing TV, some sort of like, you know, like we have Nick Anderson and stuff like that. Like, this dude legitimately loved the city. And again, he's always going to be welcome to come back, but that's amazing to hear.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of moving forward, but hey, 20 plus games left. What needs to happen for the Orlando Magic to really make noise and you know, find a way to sneak into this play-in?
I mean, personally, I think the Magic would need to win. I don't have a number, man, but I think the magic number will be 15 games. If they want realistically make the play-in, that would mean they would get to what? 37, 38 wins for the season. At the very least, that's what they would need, in my opinion. Actually, no, they are 25 now. Plus, 37, 38. I think that number should get them close. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, but that's the magic number to me. Other than that, honestly, man, I just want this team to be healthy. I I think the front office has a big job ahead of them, which is evaluating this roster and saying, hey, what do we really have here? What do we have? Because they haven't been able to see JI. They haven't been able to see Markel in a little while. So they need to see what they really have. How's Jalen Suggs progressing? How's Cole Anthony fitting into all this? Can he really be a six man? Is he going to be happy in that role? All those things matter going forward. So my number one thing is just remain healthy and honestly let things play out. Me and you, I think in our season prediction show back in October, we said if we win 30 to 32 games, that's a win for us. And guess what, man? We're 7 games away from that. And that's going to happen. We're definitely going to win 32 plus games this year. That should be the win. The fact that if we make the play-in, that would be a bonus for me. I wanted that the entire season. Like, I really wanted this team to make the playoffs. I think they can do it. Obviously, we're seeing it now. If they had been healthy all year, they could have definitely been there. But honestly, let's not lose sight of the fact that we just need to evaluate what we have this year. It's 22 games left. Next year, though, no joke. We got to be in the playoffs next year. But for now, health comes first. And if that goes well, hopefully you can win 15 more games and make the playoffs.
Yeah, we got the Pacers, Bulls, Wizards ahead of us. You got the Raptors that they've been playing really, really good basketball since their off-season, their trade deadline moves that they made. So I can't see them really falling. I think they're going to end up competing. I'm keeping an eye on the Brooklyn Nets to see kind of what they end up doing because they've obviously took a really, really big hit. But this Pacers game on Saturday is going to be a really, really big game for us, man. If we're able to pull that one away, that's one additional nod that we have that's going to really support us to be able to move forward. And then we end up getting the Pelicans on Monday. Every game counts, man. We want to make sure that we win as much of these games, obviously, as possible. And I think that the key ingredient for us to really, really be successful during this stretch is a balance between Paolo and Franz. I think that they're the anchors. Like they're the ones that we need them to be successful. We know what we're going to get from Wendell. We know what we're going to get from Markel. We need to be able to rely on the consistency of Franz and Paolo. Also, with these minutes now, hopefully ramping up sooner than later for Jonathan Isaac, if Paolo has a bad game, the way that I kind of see it, like in today's game, Paolo didn't have a good night, but Jonathan Isaac, a player that we didn't have for a majority of the season, he kind of, fill in and kind of help statistically in his limited minutes. So if Paolo is having a bad game, man, I'm hoping Jonathan Isaac can be that person that we rely on, because in my opinion, he's our undercover weapon, man. He's the X factor. He's the one that he can be the difference maker just because he impacts on both ends of the floor. So in order for us to get into that play-in, Paolo and Franz got to do well. And if Paolo doesn't do well, Jonathan Isaac, he's got to be the one that kind of rises up and helps us out, because we know what we're going to get from Markel. We know what we're going to get from Wendell. It's the question marks between, Paolo and J.I. and Franz. We need that consistency.
Yeah, I'm going to also throw another name in there, and that is Jalen Suggs. He's been playing way better as of late. Today, he kind of struggled a little bit. Amazing defensively, don't get me wrong. Offensively, he struggled a bit today. That's another guy that if he can some way, somehow turn it on when maybe Markel doesn't have it or Gary Harris doesn't have it, and he can step in and say, hey, I got you guys. That's going to be crucial. The way he's been shooting the ball lately, the way he's been scoring the ball overall has been impressive. So we need that from him the last 22 games. And I said it again on Twitter recently, like, to me, he's got the most to play for in this final 22 games, just because high lottery pick, a lot was put on his shoulders to carry this franchise going forward. And thank God for Franz. Franz worked out, but Suggs needs to get to that level as well, some way, somehow. And that could be defensively. Again, Marcus Smart type, 13 points a night, but does an amazing job on defense. That would be incredible for us. But he needs to find the consistency on the offensive end. So we need Suggs to step it up as well, because if he can, heading into next year, that's going to be massive for our team.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, man. These games they're not going to be easy, man. We got to be able to show up. We got to be able to perform. Again, Saturday against the Pacers, Monday against the Pelicans, and then Wednesday against Milwaukee. So we'll see what ends up happening, man. Game by game. Where we'll go against the Pacers 0-0 in my
that's
book.
it.
Yep. take
If
every
we could some way
game.
somehow go 2-1 in that stretch, that would be amazing. Again, that Pelicans game, it's not easy. And that game, again, Zion's not playing still, but still, they're a good team.
Yeah,
And then
Giannis is still out.
he's out now. I'm not sure if he will be a week from now,
By then.
but
Yeah.
I hope he is. Because again, if we could steal 2 wins, Indiana, hopefully, and then maybe one of those two, that would be huge for us.
Massive.
Otherwise, we'll be 2-2, and we'll be playing 500 basketball, which is kind of what I expect to happen in the final 22.
Yep, we'll see. All right, on that note, man, we're fighting for that play-in game by game. Really solid win against the Pistons. Now on to the next one. On that note, it's a wrap, man. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll see you next week.
For all the latest Magic news and updates, visit OrlandoMagicHQ.com and follow us on Instagram at Orlando Magic HQ and on Twitter at OMagicHQ. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform.